Hello and welcome to level 60 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy, here once again with my two compadres. Of course, I have David.
What up?
And I have Corey.
Hello, players.
Hello, players, thinkers, everyone. Hello, guys. How are you doing this evening?
Doing good.
Good. Doing
Yes.
great. How about
Just,
yourself, man?
I had a peanut butter smoothie. It's delicious.
Peanut butter smoothie.
Made it yourself?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you
Staying healthy?
Were you watching a cooking tutorial of yourself before you came on here?
Yeah, I made it a TikTok. That's what you were hearing.
Oh, you were making a TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were watching a TikTok of yourself making it to like
generation, their kids and their TikTok,
I put in the captions, for the hard of hearing people. So I needed to make sure everything was spelled correctly.
That's very thoughtful of you.
It is thoughtful. It is thoughtful. Being
I'm kind of
inclusive,
one of those
they
people.
call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inclusive, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm doing okay, fine, I guess. It's all good. Noticing a little bit more grays on the scalp. That's always
The
that's
worst.
always not fun. Yeah. Yep, it
My
happens.
partner keeps calling me Doctor Strange, and I'm not liking it.
Yeah.
It's happening to all of us, man.
It's just coming in right on the sides.
Yeah. Well, think about it. I mean, think about it this way. You had a great career as a doctor at one point, and I'm sure you've got doctor money saved up, and soon you'll be able to teleport, right? He teleports, right?
If
He
I
makes portals to
if I can
get
do
around.
that with some great, I'll take it. Worth it.
Right?
Yeah, why
Right?
not?
There you go. I think I'm heading to the Samuel L. route, so I'll be Nick Furying it up pretty soon.
Yeah, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens, or those who identify as other. We hope you enjoyed the last level where we had our PvP edition. Thanks once again to special guest Big Beard Josh for joining in.
You're the man, Josh.
Appreciate your attention to detail. Again, I did behind the scenes. Josh giving David some awards for being a fairly aggressive individual. I don't know if people know this, right? I know you guys look at David, granted what he said about the gray hair, you see the boyish looks. You know what I'm saying? You hear the charm, you know what I'm saying? But deep down on the other side, this guy is a menace to society, let me tell you.
I try to
Full-blown
keep a
menace.
handle on it, but sometimes it gets out.
Sometimes it gets out. It got out a little last one, right? But it's great. So yeah. Well, let's talk about games. Let's jump right into it, man. There's been some time since we've been talking about what we're playing. So what have we been playing? If anyone wants to,
David, have you been playing Resident Evil 4, man?
yeah.
No.
David,
Oh,
I'm taking over the Resident Evil guy. I'm
That's-
officially the Resident Evil fan.
You're the Resident Evil guy?
That's fine.
Yeah, I've been playing Resident Evil 4. It's been quite fun, man. That RE engine, I've already talked about the graphics before, but when they do like the interior, because I made it to the castle section, Resident Evil 4 is kind of broken down into like three big areas that you kind of have to progress through. And the castle interior, man, looks amazing. Gameplay's still holding up, lots of fun. I had a couple frustrating sections. I don't remember the catapult. You remember the catapult section, right? Right, David? I don't remember being it as frustrating in the original, but man, they had aim like nobody's business. I got hit by one, and they were timing it to where as soon as I stood up, I got hit by another one. I died about 10 times in that area, I'm ashamed to say. It was horrible. And I remember this part, but also the part where Ashley is separated from Leon.
Yep.
And you have to play as Ashley, who has no weapons, has no way to defend herself except for a lamp. Don't really like that section too much, but I got past it. I'm strictly past it, which means I'm about 2/3 of the way done. David, is that a decent estimate?
I think so. It's been a while since I played the original, but it is more than 50%.
Okay, yeah. I think there's like 16 chapters or 15. I think I'm on 10 or 11. So, making some decent progress on that. I've been playing it every day, but it's a fun game, man. It's a great remake. Happy to have it. Resident Evil games are fun. Me, I buy them when they come out and I play them and I beat them. Unlike someone else on this podcast.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Shots trying to take over the Resident Evil line.
I have this problem with being addicted to multiplayer competitive mode. I don't like it. I want to play Resident Evil 4, but I have no desire right now, and it infuriates me.
You'll get there.
I think we can be thankful that you seem like you have a very, I don't want to call you out, but it seems like you have a little bit of an addictive personality.
Oh, very, yeah.
Thank God it was video games.
Sober.
Yeah, thank God it was video games.
Yeah, not other really
not hard drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Could be the hard H.
No matter how equally or more fun they may be. I agree.
Okay.
I heard it feels good. I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess let's lean into it then, David. I mean, Corey, you've been playing RE4. Is there anything else you've really been playing?
No, that's it. That's it. I've been trying to work through that. Yeah, I did. Did you want me to go into my topic a little bit, or do you guys want to bring up your games first?
Well, I was curious. We were talking about David. What have you been investing that personality into?
I've been playing a lot of TFT. I'm understanding the game a little bit more. I'm in Silver 1, and I'm trying to get the gold. That's like my kicker right there. But I keep getting close.
What's TFT?
Team fight tactics. It has all the characters from like League of Legends and stuff because it's made by the same people. But it's like you have your little characters. You give them items, and they form teams. They have different characteristics, and it's like a little mini fighting kind of game.
How does that play? It is a fighting game, or?
Yeah, like you get this pool of characters, and you get the gold after every round. And with that gold, you have to buy certain characters that you want, and you make your team, and then your team fights the opponent's team.
But what's the gameplay?
You don't do anything. You just pick the people.
It's auto chess
and give them. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play auto chess, but I haven't.
You pick the people, you give them items, and that's it.
Okay, that sounds fun. Like I said, auto chess seems like a great genre, and I wanted to get into it a little bit, but just haven't yet.
You might want to try that one. You can do it on
maybe
computer and your phone. So
it's phone. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds interesting. I have I'll go briefly, I guess, over what I've been playing. I've been playing a lot, and I'm beating myself up because I'm not maintaining focus. I'm supposed to be focusing on beating games. I'm playing games that you don't really kind of technically beat. But let's see. I've still been making strides through Ni no Kuni 2.
Wow.
Really enjoy that game. I have been also making strides again in Mountain Blade Bannerlord. Making some strides in that. Took out Sturgia. That was cool. Even though technically you can't take out kingdoms. It's a gripe I have with the game that I'm just not going to get into. But anyway, I won that.
Feel free to get into. Why can't you take out kingdoms? Why?
I'll go into
it. Just won't let you demolish them completely. Is that what it is? Like they'll always be there.
Well, so here's the thing. I created my guy, and actually it's not, I'm mistaken. It wasn't Sturgia. It was Botania. So I made my guy from the Botanian culture, right? And then I started my own kingdom. So technically I waged war on Botania, which they call a civil war. I like that it has a little touch of that. But anyway, I can't really eliminate Botania. The only way you can really eliminate Botania is to kill them off. And when you execute people, it carries heavy penalties. So, it's not really in your best interest to just go off whacking people as much as, and look, guys, I've said this once, I'll keep saying it. If anybody on here is a whacker, it's your boy right here. All right.
You love whacking people.
Absolutely. I love nothing more. But in that game, it's not fruitful. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got to whack this guy and you got to whack that guy. I can't do it. So I wasn't able to successfully get rid of Botania because of that. So that's a little bit frustrating. It feels like once you capture all the cities and all the castles, the faction should be destroyed, civ rules, but that's not the case, which I guess is more realistic to some extent. But yeah, I was playing that, and then kind of went through that a little bit, did some stuff there, and then I got into a game that I've heard mentioned on this podcast.
By me or David?
Yeah, by who?
By Corey.
Okay, let's try to guess it, David. What game
Is it
could
the triangle
it be?
game?
Triangle game.
It is not triangle strategy.
Okay.
Are we in the realm? Is that like is an RPG of some sort?
No.
I actually have no clue.
Persona?
No.
Persona.
It's a very recent game you've talked about.
Very recent. What have I talked about? What did I beat right before Resident Evil?
Well, I don't know if you beat it.
Harry Potter?
Are you in the Fire Emblem? That's a tactics game. Are you?
I'm not. It's not Fire Emblem.
All right, no. You can tell us. I
played Harry Potter a lot.
No Harry Potter, but you're kind of in the realm of the lore. I have been playing Vampire Survivors.
Oh man, yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
It is. I started playing it a few days ago. I'm like, it's on Game Pass. I'll give it a try. I heard Corey talk about this game. It's 910 megabytes. Great. And I hopped in, and I'm like, all right, I'll try to figure this out, whatever. And then I died, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just give it another try. I can fully understand this game, right? And I have on and off been playing it the past few days.
Nice.
I've been able to clear 2 stages. That game is the quintessential one more game.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You get done, whether you win, whether you beat it, whether you lose, you're like, let me do one more run. Let me do one more run to see if I can get something. So I have been playing that a good bit, really enjoyed it. That probably won't be a game that I invest a bunch of time into.
We'll see.
But just because there's, and I don't want to spoil it, but you can beat it, but you kind of can't really beat it.
You can beat it.
Yeah, but not really.
You can.
Yeah, but also no.
There's final bosses. You can most certainly beat that game. There is a way to beat the level, like completely. There is.
Yeah, there technically is if you're like doing a little bit of like cheating and glitching, I think.
No, there is a very not easy way to beat the game. You kind of have to actually unlock some more stuff. You can beat the game. It's as simple as that.
Right. I mean, all right.
So we're not going to be spoiling Vampire Survivors. I don't think that's a thing that's going to pop up. But what are you saying? Like, what can't you beat?
Well, from stage to stage, you're technically not supposed to beat, right?
No, you can beat each stage. I can't remember exactly what clearing a stage is. Is that making it to a certain point?
It's reaching 30 minutes.
Okay, so after 30 minutes, you've made it there a couple times. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so after 30 minutes, a Reaper comes and kills you pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've been working on a lot of the different weapon combos, like based on what weapon you grab and what upgrade you grab, they can turn into an ultimate weapon.
Like evolved weapons or ultimate weapons?
Yeah, yes, evolved weapons. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know all the terminology, but yeah. So you can, in an ideal run, you can get, I think you can hold 5 weapons and 5 items. So you can have 5 evolved weapons.
Yeah.
And those are much stronger than the other ones. And you mentioned glitching. It's not really glitching, but you do probably want certain weapons. There's something called a Lancet, which freezes time. And then there's another one, which I can't remember the name of it, but it halves enemies' life. It'll just, every time it comes out, it'll half their life. You kind of need that combo. And once you get that combo, you can freeze the Reaper in forever, pretty much, as long as you're aiming it right. And you can take away half his life every time. And no matter how big a number is, no matter how big the HP is, half every single couple seconds, he does fall. And that is something that you do have to do, to kind of keep completing the game. Now, I'm not saying you're going to complete it. It is difficult and it does take a while, but there is a true ending. And once you beat him, you unlock more stuff. So it was definitely intended for you to beat him. It wasn't oh man, players found out how to do this. No, there's stuff after that for sure.
I almost feel like it's the opposite of it wasn't intended for you to beat him, but if you're tenacious enough, you can. Right? They kind of have you reach the end, and then a character basically comes in and kind of one hits you to clear the stage. It feels like they probably intended like, not really. There's no rule, but if you want to, if you have the right combo,
right.
I will say for myself, I have absolutely nowhere near enough investment in the lore or whatever in this game to try to do that. But I do think that it's cool that you can actually do it. But also that the intent or where they want you to concentrate isn't on quote unquote, beating the boss. It's
definitely
on surviving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which to me is even a kind of like, I don't know, like a misspeak or whatever, so to speak, because you're not really just focusing on survivor. I think that puts you in the wrong mindset of playing the game. That's one of the things I learned, is that when you're playing that game, it's about surviving, but you definitely want to be aggressive. You want to be the attacker.
You have to be aggressive.
In order to level up and all that.
Pretty much playing that game is that first 5-10 minutes, you've got to be as aggressive as you can while the enemies are weak. So you can level up and get the upgrade and weapons that you want. So at that 20-minute mark, you can really survive until the 30-minute mark.
Right.
And they do a lot of things, like you're very early on in the game, but eventually you'll unlock a mode where everything is double in speed. So a 30-minute run only takes 15 minutes. It's great. It's great. It really makes runs a lot of fun. And that's where you kind of get a lot of the one more time, because a half hour at a time is kind of long. 15 minutes, that's a bathroom break.
That's so true.
I'm happy you're playing that, man. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, man. I got as soon as I figured out one of the combinations, I got the garlic in the King's Bibles, and then the axes, which become, or not the axes, the crosses or something, which become like these crazy hatchets. And when you start like seeing all the huge, big evolved weapons you got, and you're wandering around the map, and you see these hordes, and it's just numbers flooming up of just like murder, kill them, and it gets the power trip really going visually for you. So.
Yeah, I can definitely say me and the wife, she took over for the last like 30 hours of the gameplay for us, but we did complete it. But man, it's a special game, kind of created that genre. And I don't know, like you said, that power trip. And there's combos where you can even get more than 5 weapons. You can get I think up to 7 or 8 evolved weapons, based on the order you grab them and how they combine with each. It's awesome. Awesome game.
6 to 1 point, but yeah, it is. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone that doesn't have it, Jeremy just said it's on Game Pass. It's $3 on Steam, and they got a DLC for $2. It's got something like 35 characters. It's great. Wow.
It's about, as long the beat has it being around, if you just focus on the main objective, it's about 10 hours you can get out of it. I'm sure if you really get into it, you can get more. But even for 10 hours for that game, if you're like, I think it's normally on sale for like $5 or something, right? Like,
I mean, we have 134 hours.
Yeah, you can. I won't touch that. I won't touch that hour mark. I'll say for myself. Nah.
I do believe it's on mobile as well. I don't know okay, yeah. So David, maybe you should check this out, man. I'm gonna check out your game. You check out Vampire Survivor. It's addicting. It's very addicting.
It's easy. It's easy to play. It's hard
easy to understand.
It's hard to like master, but it's easy. It's really easy to play.
It's so brilliant because all you do is move.
Just move.
The attacks
right now.
My man.
There you go. I would also recommend. I don't. And you can play keyboard and mouse, which is technically just keyboard. It's easier to play with a controller.
I was about to say keyboard sounds gross. It sounds gross for that game.
The first 2 stages I completed, I played with keyboard.
Good for you, man. That leveled you up big time.
If I'm telling you, you don't know where you're coming and going after a while when you're on keyboard and you're typing. You don't know. You're like, I thought I was moving right, but I'm actually pushing left. I don't understand. Yeah.
Have you before we move on, have you had the moment yet where the entire screen is just covered? And you can't see your character, and enemies are being evaporated instantly, and just there's fireworks on the screen and everything beautiful. You feel like a god. It's awesome.
And sometimes it can get a little tricky because sometimes you got so much going on that you're walking and you just walk into a guy and you lose health.
You walk into like the bosses and you're like, I died.
Right. Yeah. It's very fun. But yeah, Corey, you had a topic you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, man, love talking Vampire Survivors. I'm glad you played that. But so I'd mentioned like 3-4 episodes ago how I was playing Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII remaster on the PS4, PS5, came from the PSP. And I haven't continued playing it. Like, I haven't talked about it again on this show. And the reason maybe is because it's just like an okay game. But at the time, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was amazing. Easily my favorite game on the PSP. Easily in my top 50 games of all time, I would have said at the time. And I would even probably say now. But replaying it, I'm like, I don't really know what makes this game special. You know, like the combat is very simple. It's very simple combat. Obviously, it was a PSP game, so the graphics and the story does carry it a little bit because I think it had an excellent story. But going back, I was like, should I have went back? Like, I had this idea of this game in my head where I was like, man, this is almost like a perfect game. You know, if I had to rate it, it would be a 9 or a 10 out of 10 because obviously it is. I loved it so much. But should I have went back and played that game? Because now I'm having second thoughts. Like, I don't like it as much. You know, like games have evolved. You know, this is almost probably 15 years or more at this point. Games have evolved so much. It's like, can we really find enjoyment out of those old games that we used to like as a kid? Or David, you brought up in pre-show, like generations of games, you know, like the GameCube era or the Super Nintendo era. Can we find enjoyment from those games anymore? Or can we?
I think we can. I think, like, if you go back too far, like you said, Super Nintendo, Sega, I believe those games can still be really fun. Because like this was a few years ago, I went back and played Mega Bomberman. Still had a blast. It's a very simple game. You're on a square grid and you just blow up stuff. Still fantastic. But when I bought my PS3, I have the original one, so it's backwards compatible. I tried to play Resident Evil Survivor. God awful. So bad. The controls
and you had
terrible.
Thought it was good at the time when it came out.
I mean,
like you enjoyed it at least.
I still like the game itself, like the story. But going back and playing it, I can't. I literally just couldn't understand the controls anymore.
Wow.
So I think if you go back to a certain period, it's kind of hard to enjoy the games. But if you go back a little bit or way far, it's still enjoyable.
I think that's a good point. I think certain consoles age better.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
Like,
that's what I was trying to say.
To quote someone that said this, but like black don't crack, right? Like black don't crack. You know, the Super Nintendo is a black man. You know, the PS1 is a methed out white dude.
Okay.
You know, like it aged terribly. It aged.
This is great. This is great.
PS1 aged horribly. SNES is Denzel Washington. He looks great. Like, you know, it's I don't know. Jeremy, what did save me here?
Well, for one, I think your analogy is also not going to age well. Another thing,
I think it'll be fine. It's like quote people say it, black don't crack. All right,
they do say that.
Angela Bassett looks amazing still.
She does. And I thought it was Angela Bassett, but I'm not sure.
Bassett. Just cut off my mic, man.
Right. So yeah, obviously. This is, I mean, if you're asking a guy that's going to build a computer to play a game from 2005. Like, obviously, I think old games, you can play them, they can be fun. I think it does really depend on that generation of games, kind of like, you know, that console and the type of games they like procured and like different things like that. So obviously, I think they're fun. Even some of the bad games, it's fun to go back, or games you thought were good at the time and you go back, it can be fun to realize, oh, actually they're bad, right? So like, I mean, we've all said here before that GoldenEye blows.
Yeah.
They recently had the GoldenEye remaster available on Game Pass, so you could play. And if you played it, you would realize that it blows, right? Yeah. So it was kind of nice to go back but I still had fun because I'm like, how quaint. A bad first-person shooter from the 90s.
It was good for its time, but that was it.
Right, and barely. So
better than Perfect Dark.
I'll give you that. But
really?
So I mean, maybe. But yeah, I think you can do that, right? So like, I'm someone that constantly goes back and plays games from like the early '90s and 2000s. Granted, they're strategy games, and I think the systems and how those work obviously lend. Those are a bit more timeless. I feel like, right? But even going back and playing like Knights of the Old Republic, remember that was the first game I played on my Series X, right? Like, those are still fun. If they're classics like that, it's still fun. I mean, if you have some kind of offshoot B tier, C level type of games, it may not be as fun, especially if you've really, as you've gotten older, acclimated to playing a different style or have different kind of interests in games that have like, that have caught your interest.
Are we really looking at like it's mostly like genre based then? Like mostly like a good platformer on the Super Nintendo is probably still a good platformer because platformers were already not perfected back then, but they were good. And turn-based RPGs, kind of like strategy games, which the Super Nintendo had a lot of turn-based RPGs. The only thing missing kind of is like the graphics. The songs are still timeless. The gameplay can still be excellent. Nothing's really missing from back then till now. Like it still holds up. But something like an action game or a first-person shooter, they've made great strides in those games since that era.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That may be the case. I mean, again, I think about, we've talked before about Halo, right? That game's almost 20 years old. The original one.
I think it holds up pretty.
It holds. I think it holds.
I haven't played it in a long time though. So
I think the Xbox is a good system to go back to and play because it was newer.
And it does almost feel like Halo, the original, was like the original like modern first person shooter.
I can see that. Yeah.
It made like a renaissance for first person shooters again, where Halo was the first one, and then it like brought in all these new first person shooters that took a reference from Halo and kind of evolved it and made it what the genre is today.
I can see that. Yeah, it may be a genre thing now. But Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, right?
Right.
I can't remember. Is that a tactics or is that just a straight JRPG?
It's an action game. I mean, it's an RPG, but it's an action game. Okay. It's almost like so I played Final Fantasy VII Remake and I loved it. It was my game of the year. And I thought when I was going back, it was going to be a lot like that. That's what I remember it being. And when I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm like, oh man, this is like Crisis Core. And it has a lot of similarities, but like I said, the gameplay is so basic. It really is just a one attack button system. You press square to attack. And you can dodge and you can block, and that's it. It doesn't have much more. So it was just, I don't know. Like I feel like maybe games that push, the hardware and the graphics above everything else are kind of like the ones that falter a little bit. Like I said, it's still a good game. If it came out brand new today, I would be interested in completing it, and it would be like, oh, that was a decent game, but just kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might be more of a genre thing. I'm thinking, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I think controls have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's true as well. Have you guys gone back like to an older game like very recently?
I haven't yet, but I went to this vintage thing at the Suburban Cadillac or Suburban Collection show place or whatever in Novi.
Oh, nice.
And they had Twisted Metal 2 there.
I was just about to ask you about Twisted Metal.
And I bought it. I haven't played it yet, but I will get back to you guys and see if it's playable.
I'm going to assume that it stinks. That's my guess.
I hope not.
I feel like it's going to stink. I know you do. And that's what's going to be sad. Like if it stinks, you're going to have like a sour feeling on the whole Twisted Metal franchise now.
Well, I mean, it was...
For the time, you'll always have those memories.
For the time, it was great, and that's what I'm going to have to judge it on. But going back and playing it, that's a whole new chord to play on.
And Jeremy, you just said that you were going to play a game from 2005. Did you mention the game? I'm sorry if you did.
I've mentioned it before, the movies. But
okay.
A game that was older, 2001, that I played most recently is Metal Fatigue, which is another game I've kind of mentioned. It's an RTS. To me, it still holds up. I had fun with it. But again, a bit more timeless mechanics, different stuff like that. If I had to think of a game that I played that was older and not really much older, but didn't really kind of stay on par with what's going on right now. It's one of my favorite games, and that's the original Assassin's Creed. When I've gone back and replayed the original Assassin's Creed, it's definitely left me wanting compared to like other RPGs and games that are out there. And that's where I feel like, granted, whatever you want to say, right? The newer Assassin's Creeds, they went ahead, they stole a lot of the combat mechanics from Dark Souls, and that was for the better. I think those games are better. They're a little bit more action oriented instead of being stealth games. But even the regular stealth in that game, it's not exactly what you would want, or it doesn't really hit as well, especially to something like, let's say like a Last of Us, right? Where the stealth mechanics of that, they're pretty good. The regular combat shooting is whatever, but the stealth is pretty good. The Assassin's Creed experience was kind of like, that was like a first, like, maybe it isn't as good as I remember it being,
Now, I think that brings us up to another conversation. We've been talking about like mentioning top 50 games. Like, how does that work when something like Assassin's Creed, it might be the one you look at most fondly, right? I'm not saying it is or isn't, but let's say the original Assassin's Creed, but practically every other Assassin's Creed is better. Like, does that play any kind of factor? Like every other Assassin's Creed is better in gameplay, in graphics, in everything except for your personal feelings,
Right.
Like,
for me, it doesn't really weigh in because the reason it's my favorite is not much to do with those other things.
Okay.
It's my favorite because of the time and the area, and again, really big into history, really big into Crusades. That game examines that time in history, not like or unlike any other game, or at least most games that are out there. So I can play the other Assassin's Creeds. I won't get one that takes place in the Middle East during the Crusades, right? So that's kind of like where I hold that up there. I also, Altair isn't the most interesting written protagonist, or at least he's not the most charismatic or dynamic, but I do find him interesting because all the other ones have like really, I don't know, very simplistic, I feel like, kind of character attributes to linger on to, where Altair is almost kind of like an anti-hero, right? It's his arrogance that gets in the way and kind of like puts him into the position that he's in. And so I kind of like that fact that you have what begins to be an unlikable protagonist as your main character, and you progressively get to understand and learn about these ideas of nobility and morality with him, compared to something like, Ezio. He's fun. He's Ezio. He's like, hey, I'm Ezio. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they think they killed my family, but I'm Ezio. Hey, like it's a little bit different. So even like the newer protagonists, right? Like Eivor for Valhalla and stuff, like they're naturally more charismatic and interesting than an Altair on the surface. Altair is very reserved. He's very arrogant, right? And that's what I like that. I like anti-heroes and people that I shouldn't really empathize with, but somehow find a way to, as far as characters. That's another reason for that.
Was the original Assassin's Creed the first one that you played?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that
kind of has something to do with it too, because like the first Twisted Metal I played was 2, and that one's my favorite. Okay. But on the flip side, Resident Evil 2 was the first one I played, but Resident Evil 4 is my favorite.
Yeah.
So I feel like it being the first sometimes takes a toll on
that's fair too. And I think in terms of RE2 and RE4, I think they play different enough that it's okay to like distinguish between the two. Like it's not like man, this is just like RE2 but a little better, but RE2 is still my favorite. Like I think it's okay to be like, because they're so different. But that's a good point, David. Like take Spider-Man 2018 and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Like I probably like Miles Morales just a hair bit better, but it was standing on the shoulders of Spider-Man, which was amazing, So like Spider-Man gets the call up over Spider-Man Miles Morales. Same thing with like God of War and God of War Ragnarok. Like there's no Ragnarok without that original one. So like I like Ragnarok better because I experienced all that stuff first with that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I guess you can kind of say maybe I got into Assassin's Creed because I was pretty big into Prince of Persia. And
Yeah,
so
Prince of Persia was an excellent franchise.
and they brought a ton of mechanics from it. So
yeah.
I think I played Sands of Time.
It killed Prince of Persia, unfortunately.
Is that the name of it? Sands of Time?
That was the first one.
That's the one
Very
I played.
good.
Warrior Within.
Warrior Within was another one.
And the Two Towers.
Yep.
Only played the one. I didn't know there was more.
Yeah, there were. Prince of
Was
Persia.
it really the Two Towers?
I think it might have been. I don't know. I can't remember offhand. I remember. I know.
Say.
I remember Warrior Within for sure, but let's go with Prince of Persia and the Two Towers.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia and the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know.
Would be the first thing involving Two Towers.
Right.
Is that a sex? He winked. I feel uncomfortable.
It was more of a dark one than anything.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah. There's David. There he goes. He's back. So
it's been a couple years.
So speaking of old games and being backlog, that is. You were mentioning going back playing games that were old that we kind of had an idea about that didn't turn out to be the case. I'm curious about how you guys deal with backlogs of maybe recent games you've gotten. Let's say 4 or 5 years or so. And I ask this because of all that sea of games I've talked about playing, another one that I jumped back into and probably spent the most time playing again is Software Inc. It's that time again. It's another round. Boy's about to put another 30, 40, 50 in. But I was going back and playing that, and they've added so much stuff to it that I'm having to relearn parts of the game. I'm having to, they added accounting to the game. So now I have to have people do tax reports. I can buy gold and silver and bronze deposits as a way to funnel money out of my corporation into my offshore account, which I couldn't do before. There's so many different things. But one of the things I was concerned about is with all these different mechanics and things they've added is essentially almost like a new game. But that core mechanic is still there. And after having to learn some of those things, I found myself right back into the loop, loving every minute of it, right? So I'm curious as to when you guys think about games, has there ever been a game that you've okay, this is in my backlog, I want to go back and beat this. It's possible for me to beat it. Or do I think this may be a game that I never beat in my backlog? And, like I said, I've shared that before where I'm trying to beat games. I have so many games in my backlog. I'm afraid I won't beat them. So if you guys had any thoughts or concerns about that?
I guess I only really have one game I did that, and it wasn't a game I played. I played Resident Evil 7 4 years after it came out.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's on sale. I might as well get down and play it and beat it.
That was the game that you've always had your eye on, eventually getting and beating, though, right?
Yeah. The only reason I didn't buy it when it came out is because I wanted to get it on the VR and play it. But I never acquired a VR. So I was like,
yeah, I feel like David doesn't keep a backlog. He buys games and he beats them. His backlog consists of Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space.
Right?
Oh, yeah, Dead Space. I think I beat Chapter 2 so far.
We need those updates, David.
I might have died in Chapter 2. It's one or the other.
Okay. I mean, you guys hear how many games I mentioned on this podcast. I ain't making it up. I buy a lot of games. I drop a lot of games. I never go back to a lot of games, and it makes me feel bad. But that's what makes the games I beat, I think, very special. If I beat a game, it's because it stuck with me so much that I didn't feel the need to play anything else. Because what happens is, I had mentioned Fire Emblem, and I was like, I shouldn't buy Harry Potter yet. I bought Harry Potter, and I beat Harry Potter, and I just never went back to Fire Emblem. Unfortunately, It looks like Octopath Traveler 2 is going the same way. I got Octopath Traveler 2, put 12 hours, 8 hours, something like that in there. Then I bought Resident Evil 4. And, I'm really loving Resident Evil 4. And I'm going to beat that one for sure. And then what we're going to talk about very soon is there's a lot of games coming out. A lot of games. And as soon as I buy a new game, it definitely replaces the old one. And I fixate on that one until I beat it. And by the time I beat that new game, there's another new game, and that old one just kind of gets washed away. And I never have enough time to go back to them. I always feel like I'm going to, A famous one I have with my buddy Eric is he really wanted me beat Guardians of the Galaxy. When did that come out? During the pandemic?
Yeah, like what, 20, was it 21? 20,
Okay, yeah, 21. Yeah, and I promised him I would beat it. It's back there.
Okay.
30 games behind at this point, but it's there. I might go back to that one.
Yeah, okay.
The whole out of sight, out of mind thing, it just kind of takes over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
I mean, go ahead.
Because in your sight is the new game coming out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like you're going to make a transition, but I just wanted to bring up one more point. But it was a beautiful transition, David. I'm totally ruining it.
That was just genuine.
Okay. Another thing that like kind of like makes me not want to go back is you got to learn the controls again. You have to like learn how to play a game. You just mentioned Software Inc., where it's like there's so many new mechanics and it feels like a new game, but they probably put that in there gradually. So if you had been playing, it would have just been easy peasy, you know. But if you don't play a game for about 6 months, not only do you like not know where you are at the story, you got to kind of relearn. And games get harder as you play them, like in terms of like the actual game itself, you know, the story. You start off easy and then it gets harder and harder and harder until it gets to like a boss. So if you play a game 60% of the way through, stop playing it, and then come back months later, it's like, well, really, I have the skill of a level 1 guy in this game because I don't know how to play it again. But now I'm versing, you know, guys that are a lot tougher. So I don't know. Another reason that kind of like dissuades me from wanting to play older games that I have in my backlog.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just like forgetting everything. Because when I went back to PUBG that one time, I was really out of my mind. I had no idea what I was doing anymore.
Yeah, and then I don't know what kind of leaderboard.
800 hours of experience gone.
Of skill. Yeah, you can't do it with From Software games either. Like you cannot set down Elden Ring for 4 months and then come back to it and expect to, you know, beat that next boss you were stuck on. You better start over.
Yeah, I feel like with some, I don't know if it came specifically a game like that. Some games I feel like you can very rapidly acclimate yourself back up to that skill level. Some it's harder than others, especially if a game is really system heavy, I feel like, because then you have to learn to not only navigate the gameplay mechanics, but then figure out the system and how like to balance all the different systems are within the game. But yeah, I think that weighs on me though. Like backlogs weigh on me, and so I know that my purchasing of stuff has like gone down precipitously. Also, I don't really have anything interesting, except I do, and we'll talk about that soon. But yeah, man, going back and playing that was great. It was a great time, but it was. How's
BioShock? How's BioShock going for you?
Backlog.
Not to call you out on it, but
it's backlog. that thing got backlogged 10 minutes into it. And it's I don't think it's obviously not a reflection of the game itself because I didn't play the game.
Right.
I think I walked maybe 20 feet in total with my character, but it's just a matter of like other games kind of, you know, it's the dog and squirrel, you know, and it's like, okay, I'm going to chase this squirrel for a while until another squirrel. And then that squirrel may lead me back to the original squirrel I was chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with all this back talk of these games from the past, what about the future games? What are you guys looking forward to?
You're talking the rest of this year, correct?
I mean, yeah, mostly. But if we're unsure, that's a good one too.
Like we're not going to let Jeremy get away with like Elder Scrolls 6, right? Correct. Like that's 4
like
years
relatively
away. So,
soon, within the year.
All right.
I mean, regionally, next year or two. We're not talking about 2057.
Yeah, exactly when that'll come out.
Exactly.
Yeah. David, did you have one to start off?
I'm very upset that it's still not out yet, but Hellblade 2. Like, I'm just dying to play this game. Like, I think the problem with Resident Evil 4 is that it's a remake, and I kind of already know everything that's going to happen. And then with Dead Space, I didn't look forward to it in the first place. And this time I'm just trying to see what all the hype was about. But Hellblade 2, like, I know what the hype is about. I beat the first one. I loved it. What happens next? What is it? What is she gonna have to go through?
Right. That game is like so intense too.
Yeah.
And Senua is such a great protagonist.
Come out this year. Exactly. Yeah. I loved the whole concept of her just fighting these voices in her head.
And you want to know what? I'll give you this. Because that's a game that I'm also thinking about. I don't know if it's in my top, but it's definitely a game that's on my peripheral. I don't think it would be that at all if they didn't release one of the dopest gaming trailers I've ever seen. But they had to mess around and release that epic game trailer. And it's like, oh, this is about to be next level.
Is it the one with the giant?
Yeah, I think they're like, it's like her and a bunch of guys are like going in the cave. Like, yeah.
That's crazy.
So I'm gonna watch that after we get them recorded.
Supposedly, a lot of that is like gameplay.
Yeah.
It just looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately though, it's on Team Green. So hopefully it comes out pretty soon here. I'm worried about it.
Yeah, because from what I've seen, it says either late this year or sometime next year.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be late last year.
I know.
But then wasn't it supposed to be like February this year then?
Probably.
Something like that, yeah. But hey, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Because what game took forever to come out and was amazing? Didn't the original Last of Us keep getting delayed? Or was it number 2? I mean, either way, one of them got delayed for a little bit.
Last of Us Part 2 got delayed quite a bit.
Okay, and that was still an amazing game.
Yeah,
it was worth the wait. So if it's anything comprehensible like to that, I'll be happy.
Gotcha.
Jeremy, how about you, man?
Yeah, so get ready for some PC strategy nerd stuff. I'd say the game I think I mentioned it before. The game I'm probably most excited for is City Skylines 2. I'm really pumped for it. Really pumped for it.
Do you know if they're adding anything to it that's not in the first one?
Yeah, they're adding a bit some of the systems and mechanics from like the DLCs, like a lot of like green energy stuff that were in one of the green DLCs, and a lot of not only from like DLCs but mods. They are getting a bit more granular with how you deal with traffic within your city and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, City Skylines looks great, and I think 2 is going to look even crazier. I don't know if they're popping it in an Unreal Engine 5 or not, but if they are,
that could be amazing.
It's going to look beautiful, man. It's going to be like Microsoft Flight Simulator level, kind of like pretty, dude. I'm hoping. And then another game I'm looking forward to is Homeworld 3. Speaking of games that have been in development and delayed forever, Homeworld 3 is like, I don't know, 7-10 years behind. But they're finally getting close to releasing it. Super excited about that. I cannot wait to build an intergalactic country where I get to design my own spaceships and my own space carriers. This is going to be super cool. Already know I'm going with a modified Lord of the Rings, Star Wars type of design in mind for this stuff. It's going to be looking pretty righteous. But I'm excited for that. That's finally coming out. I mean, after so many years.
That sounds very interesting.
Actually. Yeah. The first Homeworld is great. Homeworld Desert of Karak is like more of a traditional RTS. So it's like on land or on a planet. It's not like space like the original Homeworld. But yeah, just can't wait for that. And then I'll name a game that isn't a strategy game, but is equally no one cares about. They announced a brand new content DLC pack for the Division called Heartland, where instead of you being in DC, you're like out in essentially, I don't know, like Wisconsin or Nebraska or something like that. It's a lot more Midwestern in the locale, but I like the change of what looks like it's going to be a bit more bright, colorful. That's what I like about 2 in general compared to the First Division. The First Division takes place in New York City and is dark and stark and drab and gray. Yeah, this one is going to be a bit different. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'd say that's probably like top 3. Missing from that list, on purpose, Starfield.
So I got to ask you, Jeremy. Now, you have famously quoted yourself as saying you have not bought a full release at full price since Pokemon Arceus.
Mm-hmm.
Are these games? You're talking. You're talking a good game. Do one of these games get you to change it? Like, I'm sure the Division game's not going to be 60 anyways because it's DLC. But City Skylines 2 or Homeland 3. $60 price tag, day one. Are you there?
It depends. So here's the thing. It depends on reviews for Homeworld 3. Again, this game has been delayed like a decade, so there's some apprehension for it. City Skylines,
it's understandable.
$60 day one.
I mean, you already know that's getting great reviews. City Skylines 2 is going to get great reviews.
Oh yeah.
So, okay.
Oh yeah.
Day one, he's going to break the streak of it'll be over 2 years at that point, or a year or something. Yeah. That's crazy.
When he has a bitter taste, he means it.
Yeah, I guess so. I got excited at this, and I wrote all my answers on a piece of trash that I had in my room. I will go over them in, I guess, reverse order of what I'm least excited about, but still very excited. Starfield, Jeremy, you didn't want to mention it. I do want to mention it because Bethesda. They have a history of making great RPGs. Not as much lately.
You did say this is a big release for them.
It's a huge release for them, and they have to make it work. And Starfield looks like it's going to be a monumental, huge space epic. So I'm hoping it's really good. The last one they made was Fallout 4, right? That was their last big RPG.
Yeah, I will also be getting Starfield.
Right? Yeah, of course. And I liked Fallout 4 a lot. Like, I thought it was a really good game, and I really love the base building. So if they Fallout 4 did something where they made all the junk that you usually don't like collecting in games, they made it very useful. So I hope Starfield does something like that. Going over it real quick, Baldur's Gate 3 really intrigues me. My buddy Eric is playing early access, and he talks it up a lot. So I'm really like, I kind of want to get Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16. I didn't really like 15 that much, but always looking at Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
They do vary quite a lot.
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy 10 hooked me, and ever since then I've been looking for that, and I haven't really felt it except for Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And the sequel to the remake is coming out supposedly this year. I think that one's going to get delayed, but very excited if that comes out.
Or that's the same. Like, I really liked 10 on Edge 2, but I tried 13 and I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, they're kind of hit or miss for me. When they went action combat, it's kind of, I don't know. They take themselves very seriously, it feels like, which I guess they always did, but I don't know. With the graphics being what they are today, it just feels much, much more serious.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6. I don't know if you guys have seen anything on that, but
it looks intense. Like, I'm not interested because they're kind of all the same, but it looks insane.
Well, the latest thing that just came out is they have like a I forget what it's called, but you can like roam around the city almost like the NBA game, like the city where you can just roam around, and it's almost like an RPG in a sense. You know, you get your gear that gives you your stats, and you can challenge anyone on the street, and you can go to a big hub where there's all real people, and you can challenge them. And you can create your character. I'm a big Street Fighter fan. Looking forward to that. Real quickly,
I did not know. So it
looks really cool.
Game. Yeah, I've only seen like images of.
Yeah, it makes someone like me who's very casual. Like, I'll never learn the combos to an extent to be good. I'll get a lot more playtime out of this. Tears of the Kingdom looks good. Hates the $70 price tag, but it is what it is. Diablo 4, Diablo 3 was a game me and my wife played and completed multiple times. So good co-op. Jeremy, and David, do you have any interest in Diablo?
The last one I played was 2, and it's not my cup of tea.
Really? Jeremy, you either?
Not much into it. And then when one of the guys asked several years ago, do you guys not have phones? I was kind of a little bit turned off by the company. And then also other stuff that's happened with the company has turned me off. But no, not a really big Diablo person, which is weird because I like those types of games, but I haven't really got into it.
It was kind of like looter shooters before looter shooters.
Yeah.
Diablo 3 is an excellent co-op game. You guys both have, partners. If they're in the gaming at all, I know Jeremy, yours is. Like, it's an excellent co-op game. Me and my wife played Diablo 3 so much. Looking forward to playing co-op again with her. And Spider-Man 2. That's my most anticipated game. I think it's going to be excellent. I hope it doesn't get delayed. It's kind of PlayStation's like biggest game coming out this year, so I would hope it wouldn't. But they're introducing Venom. You have Spider-Man and you have Peter Parker and Miles Morales both taking the reign of Spider-Man. It looks fabulous. I cannot wait for this game to come out. I'm really pumped for that. Spider-Man 1 being like one of my favorite games of all time. So it looks like it's going to be a great year for me. A very expensive year. Very, very excited about these games.
I find it very, just the thought I had that I found funny was like this whole essentially like My City version of Street Fighter 6, where you're just chilling on the street, have your avatar there, and then someone walks up as Chun-Li and it's like, you want to catch this fade? And that apparently means that you want to fight.
That's what it looks like it does. Like it's just a living, breathing kind of city where you walk around, purchase things, go around. It looks fun. It looks really cool. That comes out my birthday, June 2nd. So I'm very excited.
Nice.
That's so present too. So
I know there's like some other games that come out. We're not going to talk about those. Those games don't have our interest. But you know what game does have our interest?
What's that?
What we have termed as Fast as You Can, formerly known as They're Back Again. That's right, folks. It's game time.
Ooh.
So
what am I losing today?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not feeling like the sharpest knife in the drawer today. We'll see. But if you guys don't remember what There and Back Again / now Fast as You Can is, we each have a game topic, and we got to list things related to that game topic as fast as possible. Gentlemen, I'm assuming that you both do have your topics in mind. Who would like to go first, or should I?
I mean, yeah, take it, man. Take it.
Okay.
We definitely don't.
All right. So I do a category and a little bit of context. My category is present day games. Okay.
Yeah.
And what this means is that games that were present day themed or whatever when they came out. Right. So technically,
and can we like put a stipulation on this? Because what we end up doing is we get
3 games from a franchise, max 3.
Oh, okay, that's good. I was gonna say 1 because we end up doing like, Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, and it's like it's got 30 games. We're gonna go on forever.
Yeah, but some of them aren't.
I understand.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what we usually do with like first person shooters. We did the one time. It was every.
Yeah, it was insane.
Like, okay. So
I lost
3,
that one.
I know. So 3 from a franchise.
3 from a franchise.
It took place at present day when it came out.
Present day when it came out.
That's hard.
Okay, Jeremy.
Present day world, right? So no kind of like alternate world thing. You can't do like,
Mario.
Yeah. Right. Wait, are you saying present day?
You can't do Mario.
Oh,
no, you can't do Mario for present day, right? Like it's an alternate universe.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll start off Uncharted.
Wait, okay, you're going, then is it what? Let's go Corey, David, me. You want to do it that way or what?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you started us off.
Uncharted.
I'll go with Resident Evil.
Tomb Raider.
Dang, that was mine. I'll do Uncharted 2. We're allowed 3 in a franchise.
What about, is Alan Wake?
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go Siphon Filter.
I'll go Uncharted 3. I'm already failing. I took all the Uncharted's, bros. All right.
I'm out. Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2. I am going to go with Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
That's a good one. I will go with. I'll go with. I'm out. I'm blanking.
You could say Resident Evil 4, the original.
I could, but I'm out.
The remake
now.
is in the past.
That is true. I blanked. Go ahead.
Alrighty.
David, it's on you.
What? Resident Evil 4. That's what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll go with Dead Island.
What is it? What about Dead Island 2? Or is that in the past?
It's not even out yet.
I mean,
I've seen
test
plays of it.
Yeah, but it takes place. It takes place.
I think it's that counts.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare 2 then.
Jeremy's looking off to the side. David. I would call it judge. Look at him looking at a list.
What? I'll call Call of Duty Modern Warfare
3.
That's 3 in Call of Duty.
Duties. Okay, so I got nothing.
Yeah.
Well, can he name another one?
Yes, I will. Battlefield Bad Company.
Oh, Battlefield. Come on. That's a good one. All right, he takes it.
How specific can we get in our topics? I feel like if I pick this topic, it'll just be me.
That's fine.
How about you say what the topic is? We'll determine then.
I was gonna do Street Fighter characters.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
fair.
got this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fun. I'm not saying I know Street Fighter way more, but I probably do a little bit. So I didn't want to. If you guys didn't know Street Fighter, I was going to switch it. I don't know how big of Street Fighter. Okay, Street Fighter characters. Yeah, this is cool.
All right.
So your topic, you want me to go?
Yeah, sure. And then Jeremy, then me.
All right, Cameron.
Ryu.
Ken.
It's a Viper.
Chun-Li.
What?
The Viper.
M. Bison.
What is that guy's name? The Dark Ryu.
Is that a character?
Yeah, it's the number 5, I thought.
All right. Survey says we'll count it for now.
Oh, okay.
There's
I'm
2
out.
dark characters in the game. I can't remember the other guy's name though.
Vega.
Oh, okay. So you're Vega. Yeah, I'm out. I got no one else.
I'm out too. If you can name something.
Dazzlim.
Okay.
Dazzling.
Oh, that's like that's the whole
Blanca.
That's one I couldn't remember. But
what's the Asian guy?
Right?
Who's the evil guy with the red hair?
Vega?
No, Dazzle.
He's the Indian gentleman.
Yeah.
Stretch out his limbs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Fire.
Okay.
He's cool.
Yeah.
E Honda. Very cool guy.
Yeah.
Love E
Isn't
Honda.
he the sumo wrestler?
Mm-hmm.
What's the guy with the evil guy with the red hair? He's another martial artist.
Red hair. What?
He's like the bad guy in this.
Oh, Akuma.
Okay, there's also a dark Akuma.
No, Akuma is dark.
I know there's 2. There's Akuma and then there's the dark Akuma.
All right. I didn't know.
That's all I know.
That's
Cammy.
Right,
Did you say Cammy? What'd you say?
Cameron, and it might have been Cammy. Yeah, she's the military chick.
Oh, that's Cammy.
okay.
It's short for Cam.
That's okay. Guile.
Yeah.
I like Street Fighter. Go on.
Guile. How did I forget Guile? All right, so I had a different one, but I like yours. So let's go with Mortal Kombat characters.
Oh boy.
I like that one. I feel like we all might split 1, 1, and 1 here.
Maybe.
All right, Jeremy, you go first, then me, then David.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Raiden.
Smoke.
I go with my boy Scorpion.
Well, I'm going with my boy Sub-Zeros.
Dang it. Sonya Blade.
Jax. And before you say anything, pause. It's like the original, like not original, but like original Mortal Kombat stuff, not like Jason and stuff they added in Mortal Kombat.
No, okay, the Turtles. Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Turtles. Okay, yeah. Okay, we got you.
Continue.
Gotcha. I'm going with Cyborg.
Oh, that's a good one.
Goro.
Sector.
Shang Tsung.
Dang it. Casey Cage.
Noob Saibot.
Liu Kang.
Dang, man. How much time do I got? Kano.
Kung Lao.
Dang, I was thinking of him. You guys are going too fast.
Katana.
That's a good one. Jade.
Elena.
Oh no, come on, man.
I like how we both went the same direction, just different characters.
No, you already said him. Was Riptile.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Oh no. Shoot. I'm done. Dang it.
All right.
Jeez.
Did anybody say Sindel?
No.
The mother?
You did.
Elena?
That's yours?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Jeremy, no one's ashamed. You did much better.
Gora, the female Goro.
Oh yeah. Ermac.
Oh, he's got you.
Okay.
He's spitting them out one second after the other. You're done.
Blue.
It's Jade.
I said Jade.
Oh, you said Jade. Okay.
Well, also,
He said a J name, so
I didn't have one. I just made it.
I thought you were going with Jackie. Isn't Jackie one? Jackie Jax? Like Jax's kid, Jackie?
Jax. I don't know.
He has a daughter.
Oh, yeah, he does. I don't know her name.
That's Jackie. I'm more of a modern Mortal Kombat guy. Dang it.
So I guess for me to win, Shao Kahn.
I was trying to think of him. The whole time I was trying to think of him.
Yeah.
Wow.
We each won one. That was good. Yeah.
Okay.
It was the first time David's ever won anything. That's great.
I finally. Woo.
David, you were like knocking them out, man.
That's the fighting game I played the most of.
Yeah, for sure. That was a fun one.
Anthony, we all had more of those than Street Fighter. No, way more of those. I guess, are we keeping it just one apiece then?
I think that is. I think that's nice. I think it's nice that we each got a piece of the pie here.
All righty. Well, then that means that we are moving on to final thoughts. For a final thought we want to make, it can be about something related or unrelated to this podcast episode. So, who would like to give their final thought first?
I don't know, man. I don't really have a final thought. I've been playing a new card game called Marvel Champions because it's been going good. I've been getting real into it. Bought a couple of expansions for it already, a couple like 3, 5, 6 different hero decks. I tend to try to find new hobbies and then jump right into them real quick,
Yeah, I know how that goes. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun. I'm having fun. It's an offshoot of board games. It's a board game, but it's got its own lifespan. Its own route going somewhere else. And I'm kind of getting into that. So that's the fun. Marvel Champions. Someone play it with me. My wife hates it.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. I'll go with my final thought. So I never thought twice about this, but I don't know if you guys heard, but there is a huge Pokemon card scandal going on right now. Somebody on the line, they're the ones that either cut and put in the packs or just put them in the packs or whatever, but they were taking out all of the really, really rare cards and just stocking them in themselves, stealing them all. So barely any in the last few sets got out. And that's kind of disheartening. I don't mind paying a couple $100 to buy a box here and there and try to get the good ones, but the integrity is just gone. I didn't realize there's so much trust on people working in those workplaces. Right. I thought it was all automated, but it's not.
Yeah.
And that's just upsetting. And the reason that they were caught is they had stacks, 100, 200 of the really, really rare cards that, people will have 4 or 5 of if they're lucky and didn't spend a ton of money on them. And they took them to their local card shop, hey, what can I get for these? Really?
I did see that. That was crazy. It also reminds me of a documentary that I watched on HBO. It was about the McDonald's Monopoly game. Did you guys know anything about that?
Yeah.
It was a great documentary. It wasn't a scam by McDonald's, but same idea. The people that printed these things, the one guy would always take the $1 million one because there was only one boardwalk, 1,000 park places, but he would take it and he would give it. He would choose who won the $1 million. He'd give it to people that were not related to him, but he knew offhandedly. And it was it went on for 10 years or something. It was crazy. And that's kind of what that Pokemon thing kind of reminds me of.
Yeah, essentially.
That's crazy. I have to look more into that. That kind of confirms suspicious that 7-year-old me had at the time. I'm why ain't I getting these cards I want? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. My final thought is that, just been playing games, That's all I've been doing, really. Well, been doing other stuff, but playing games. That's literally the final thought. That's pretty much it. Just playing games.
It's a good life.
Nice, because usually it seems that you're busy quite often.
Yeah, I usually don't have any time to play games. So it's nice that I've had this little spurt of time to be able to like take some time into playing games, getting back into some older games, finding some new games. So I'm sure it'll be another spurt again where I'm not playing really anything. And then we'll see what happens. Hopefully City Skylines 2 comes out during that whole phase where I'm not playing that much and I can put some decent hours into it, Man, I feel like it's crazy. So it's been nice. Been nice to play video games.
That's good.
It's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the end of level 60 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast on podcast services. We are on the Apple, and we are on the Google, and we are on the iHeartRadio, and we are on the Amazon. You can also follow the podcast on the socials. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/Thoughts and Players. Like it's all one word. We are also on the Twitter, Thoughts Player 2, Instagram, Thoughts.Players. We are on the TikToks. And obviously we are on YouTube where you can catch the video versions of the podcast episodes. Also, in addition to that, we have a Patreon. If you're digging what we're doing and you want to support your boys, stop on through the Patreon. We have 3 tiers, a $2, $5, and $7, each one with different perks that kind of build on top of each other. You can check those out. Again, bonus level episodes. We will have bonus episodes coming out soon. Probably something, and then maybe we'll get one of the top 50s going here pretty soon.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, if you can't do that, just a like and a share and a comment. We appreciate it all. So that is it for me. Fellas, do you have anything else you would like to say?
Peace.
Goodbye.
Peace. We'll catch you on the next level.